What if I told you that special effects will literally double how good your art looks? And by special effects, what I mean is like just anything, really. Anything can be a special effect. It could be flower petals, snow, rain, fire, all that stuff, right? Because it works because it adds something important called movement. So if you take away the special effects, even with the special effects, this looks pretty stiff, right? It looks still. Like same thing here. Like even though we have these snow particles here, we are not using them in a way that would make this scene feel like it has movement. But then when you take a look at something like this, for example, the special effect would be like the slash here, right? This adds some movement. So you're like, okay, you know, this guy, he's slashing downwards. So your brain can kind of fill in the gaps and see, okay, there's some movement here. It looks more exciting than if we just had this gone. Okay, another example, look. Okay, this, we have fire, right? But the fire is still. The Mario and Luigi are still, and the image is boring, right? Then we take a look at this, and you can see the difference in how I use fire here. This was about a year ago. This is me currently. There's a big difference in how I'm using the effects here to get some sense of movement. Now, of course, it helps that Mario and Luigi are actually, you know, doing something this time. But you could see that when you have the effect, it's like a streak almost. It's like where you're guiding the viewer's eye. So with this fire, right? I could have just had the fire here like this, right? I could have just had the fire here, but I used this trail to guide the eye here. And then I can use this trail in conjunction with that to have like a never-ending cycle, and you're stuck in a loop, an endless loop where you're looking at my drawing. And again, even on the outskirts. So I have the fire here, right? But this part was feeling a little bit empty. So what I could do is I put like this wind going around. So again, it adds some movement, like it's going around, and then, oh, now you're looking at the fire, and then, oh, now there's the face. You see how special effects can add that to your drawing? Now you're like, okay, well, I mean, what if Mario, what do I do if there's like no fire? You know, like I'm not drawing Mario and Luigi spitting fire every single time, right? So take a look at this. This was 1 year ago. This is where I feel like I wasn't wasn't the best at drawing, but I was using some effects pretty effectively here. So this is wind. Pretty sure you guys could make that out. And the wind is pushing this hair back. So now this is adding some sense of movement. And even though it isn't as effective as here, this is just a skill gap. It's not really how well I use the effects. But you can see it makes a difference. Like this has some sense of movement. This is still. In terms of effective effects use, this would be better than this. Here's another example of effects. This one, it's simple, but it's better than nothing, right? And that's one of the main takeaways is that, you know what, even if it's simple, having some effects is better than just having nothing and having the drawing feel stiff. You know, you never want that to happen. Here's another thing right here. You can also use effects to frame whatever you want the person to see. For me, I wanted the person to see Mario, his hand, but not this stuff, right? Not like this stuff here and like this stuff down here. That's why I put some effects to kind of like move your eyes away from that. You could use blurs, you could use snow, you could use fire, whatever, right? As long as it helps, you know, achieve the ideal that you want, then it's all good. Here we go. This, so I used rain right here in a diagonal, right? Because the perspective is like more diagonal here. Rain gives another sense of movement and adds to the piece because, you know, when these guys are covered in rain, it feels more like we're in the piece, right? Another one here. Look, I used ink to frame the character in, right? So these effects are all great. And sometimes, like, let's say here, I had snow, but I also had these petals because I thought the pink worked really well with the blue. That's when the effects get more complex, is when you're using them to help contrast the colors, but also to help add movement, right? But here's where I went wrong. So right now I've showed you some good examples, but here's a bad example of effects. This is when you use too much, right? There's just too much movement, too much going on that you don't really know where to look. I mean, you look here, right? Then you have this huge chromatic aberration effect, which is just like, you know, the blue, the red, and all that stuff. You see how it comes out? So one, we have that, and then we have this like huge whirlwind, and then we have these petals flying all over the place. Now it's blue all of a sudden, right? So you don't want to overflow your piece with effects. I mean, this piece is like 60% effects, 40% actual characters. I even have glitch effects here, right? Like, and that's a main takeaway. Do not put too many effects if they don't serve a purpose, right? I wanted to frame these guys in, but I could have done that with just one wind swoosh with some blur, right? That's all I needed to do. I didn't have to do all this stuff here. You see, effects are like salt and pepper. They're like seasoning, right? They can help your piece stand out and taste really amazing, right? But too much of it will just get rid of the original taste that you had, but also make it just too strong. It's too much to look at, like you saw at this piece before. But when we have some nice spices here, right? Just a couple, like we have like 3 effects, right? This, and then this cyclone. Just 3 effects. We have like 2 here with the rain and the paint splatter. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, probably even more, right? That rhymed, right? It just doesn't work. And if you are going to put a lot, then you have to be more subtle with it. You could take a look at this drawing that I did. There's a lot more effects here. You could see like there's like this little cyclone thing. Now we have petals, then we have snow, we have fire, and there's actually some subtle wind here, right? Bet you didn't actually notice that here because it's subtle, right? A lot of this stuff not so subtle here, but a lot of this stuff is subtle and it's not overpowering. You can see like the effect here is like what? Maybe 5% of the canvas. This is another 10%. And this altogether would probably be another 7. So overall, that's 22% of the canvas is just effects, right? And we have so much more for just the characters. So now that we have this blocked in, right, with like the trees, the background, again, background and effects, they serve a similar purpose to just make the stars of the show, or your characters, better, right? More visible. There's the first thing, the only thing that people look at almost. So an action step that you could do right now, take a piece that you have, maybe it's already a finished piece, and just roughly add an effect to it, right? Like for example, let's see here. What do I have here? Here, right? This is an old piece that I did for my gaming channel. If I wanted to add an effect, well, let's see. This guy's strong, right? So maybe he has some sort of aura or some sort of power that could cut these points off, right? So maybe I could put like some whoosh powers like that, or like this almost, and like that, so that it shows that he's emitting power. And then now this is cut off, so there's more of him in the page. See where I'm going? And here too, like this, again, for another thumbnail that I did, all these elements help him stand out. Now, I should have actually done a little bit of a value check, like blurred this maybe, made these darker so that they don't take away from him. But you see what I mean here. Now the entire page is filled and it's kind of framing this guy. If I wanted to go here, well, we're underwater, right? I could add like a foreground element, maybe a tree here, right? Or like some water in the background or something, right? Something to add movement, something to frame these guys in. Because when you frame these guys in, not only do you have to work less hard because you don't have to make the piece 100% perfect, you just have to make the part that you want people to look to the best, and then just use the remaining negative space, so the space that's empty, right, to make people look here instead of around. That's the point of backgrounds and of effects, at least to my knowledge, is to enhance the story, not take your eyes away from it, where you're looking over here instead of here. Thank you for watching, and if I did forget anything or you think I should cover something more deeply, please let me know in the comment section down below. It's me, Anshel P, and I'll be talking to you all in the next video.